Hi everyone, it is Matt Brown here. We're going to do some more Nirvana from In Utero. So this one is Pennyroyal T. We're in the key of A minor for this one, for the verse anyway. And this one is down a half step, like the rest of the songs on In Utero. Okay, so let's get after this one. The intro part, I'll play it for you real quick, and then we'll talk about the chords and all of that. Okay, so there is the verse on one of the guitar parts anyways. So this is the electric guitar that is panned to the right side of the stereo spectrum. And it's kind of, you're strumming the chords and kind of arpeggiating them a little bit, and then there's like a lick at the end of one of the G chords. So we'll look at all of that. The first chord is just your A minor chord, tried and true. So that's on your high 5 strings, open 2, 2, 1, 0. The other chord that you're playing is just your standard G chord, I guess. All 6 strings, 3, 2, open, 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 3. So the rhythm that you're playing is over the A chord, 1, 2, and 4, and, or strumming directions, down, down, up, up, down, up. So what it usually does is, on the end of 2, you're hitting the higher chords, and then some of the lower notes on the end of 3, and then high notes on beat 4. So if I loop the first measure, that kind of thing. So the A minor chord happens for 2 measures. And then you're going to hear the open D string as like a transitional type strum, or maybe the D and G strings. So the rhythm over the G chord is pretty much the same. You may, loosely play the rhythm a little bit different over the G chord sometimes to give a little variety. The little lick he does at the end of the G chord is just a 2, 3, open. So it kind of implies like a little Dorian sound there for you theory people, since you have an F sharp in the key of A minor. Anyway, moving on. What you have then again is the A minor to G thing. And then kind of that build up with just all down strums going into the chorus at the end of the measure. All right. So as far as tone goes, I think it's good to think about the 3 guitars that Kurt Cobain usually played for electric guitars, which would be a Strat, a Mustang, and a Jaguar. So this to me sounds like he's using a neck humbucker. So the only one of those guitars that has a neck humbucker is a Jaguar. So it's probably a Jaguar. I'm just doing it with the Les Paul, So the other guitar that you're hearing panned, it's not hard left, but kind of like over there, is just kind of like a crappy acoustic. It might be like a dobro, which is a resonator guitar, if you're, Google it if you're not familiar. Or just, some sort of crappy acoustic that was lying around the studio. Okay, so that's, and that guitar part is just, instead of like arpeggiating a little bit, it's just kind of, just strumming like that. So let's get into the chorus part and we'll talk about that. So what comes in is an overdriven guitar that is, it's not far right, because it's not doubled. It's just a single guitar track during this chorus. And so when you're doing just a single rhythm guitar track recording, what you want to do is shoot for kind of a tone that doesn't have a lot of highs, or kind of a shrill tone, because you're kind of taking a tone that would take the place of maybe 2 guitars pan stereo. So he's not, playing with a lot of highs, so it's not a real shrill tone that'll also get in the way of the vocals too. So that comes in on beat 3 of the last measure of the verse. And you have that basically. So you're going to strum part of the G chord, play the root note, slide up around to the 12th fret, and then play an open A string. Alright, so with the chorus, I'll play the whole thing, and then, we'll talk about it like we usually do. Alright, so that's it. Chords, we have a C chord. That's on your inner 4 strings, frets 3, 5, 5, 5. Sliding up to a D chord. Same thing, up 2 frets higher. To a B flat power chord played on 5th string root. So that's frets 1, 3, 3, starting with your 5th string. So the rhythm that he's doing is like a 1, 2, and 4 and with the C chord. Then the next measure is usually full of 8th notes. So you have 1 and 2, and then usually a transitional A note to lead into the next chord. So that rhythm is 1, 2, 3. The following measure is this. So what he's doing is he's just playing the open A note on the end of 3 and the end of 4. And then you're back to the riff again. So the last time you play through the riff, the B flat chord is played a little bit differently at the end. So you get kind of like a build up where Dave Grohl is like, building up on the drums. And then you have a rock and roll power slide at the end there. Okay, so second verse, same as the first, not a whole lot to talk about there. Second chorus, not much to talk about there. So the next part is the guitar solo, and we'll look at that next. So here's the solo. Alright, so that's it. It's a real simple kind of idea that he's playing over the solo. It's super simple, super catchy. So what you're doing is an A flat power chord, and then an open string, your open G, and then you're doing a bend, and then bringing it back down and pulling off, and then doing another 2 to open pull off. Now sometimes when he's hitting the open strings, he gets a little bit rugged and sloppy with it, in a good way. And he's playing like the open D and open G, kind of like that kind of thing. So what happens next is a G chord. So he's fretting this one a little different from the verse. So the 5th string is muted, and that, when you're playing this chord with distortion, you want to mute that 5th string or else it's going to sound kind of muddy. So strums, then hitting the high note, then you're going to hit the open B string. And then you have this little run from the A Mixolydian scale. So that's 3-2 open, 3-2 open, and then sometimes he does an end at the end, bend at the end, that type of thing again. Or sometimes the next time he just does like 2 to open pull off, like that. And then you're basically into the chorus riff after that, which gets played twice as kind of a lead-in back to your verse. Okay, so you have a third verse, a third chorus, and then you have your outro. Let's check out the outro. So the outro does something that's called a ritardando poco a poco, which is Italian for slow down little by little. So what we have is just an A minor chord that is kind of strumming in a real sparse way to kind of lead out the song. Something like that. And what he does is he ends the song with the B note on the second string, which kind of gives it a mysterious kind of vibe, since you're adding the add 9 of the chord. That's kind of the effect that note kind of has. Okay, so that does it for Pennyroyal by Nirvana. Shoot me an email like usual if you guys want the tabs. I've got, plenty of Nirvana coming, still plenty of songs on Incesticide, a couple from Nevermind. I'm also going to do some of their covers that they did on the MTV Unplugged sessions, so we'll look at those too. Alright guys, stick around. Thanks a lot.